Writing equations using ratio tables. This is section 1.8, writing equations. Writing equations using ratio tables. So we've seen ratio tables, and we've also been writing equations. And so when you look at writing equations, first off, what you're going to see is what a variable is. So what is a variable? Well, a variable is a letter. It's a letter that represents a number. That represents a number, such as x, y, a, and b. X, y, a, and b. Now, when you look at variables, we see these in equations. Well, what is an equation? Well, an equation is two equal math statements. Two equal math statements. They're equal to each other. For example, 4x equals 8, and 10 plus y equals 20. Two equal math statements. Now, what are the steps to write equations? Well, there are three easy steps. There are three easy steps to write equations. Write equations. Okay, so there's three easy steps. Step one is to create your ratio table. Create ratio table with information. With info. Create ratio table with info. So that's step one. Step two is multiply or divide. Multiply or divide to find relationship. To find relationship. And you can abbreviate relation with relationship. So step two is multiply or divide to find relationship. And then step three is to write equation. Is to write equation using variables. That's it. So step one is to create the ratio table with information. Step two is multiply or divide to find relationship. And step three is write equation using variables. So let's take a look at step one. Step one is to create the ratio table. So let's try an example. Go and write EX1, and EX1 says 1 cup chocolate, 1 cup chocolate for every 5 cups milk. 5 cups milk. Okay? So it says 1 cup chocolate for 5 cups milk. It says find 20 cups. Find 20 cups and write equation. And you can abbreviate EQU with equation. But it just says step one to create the ratio table. So go ahead and create your table. So first off, we'll go and write chocolate, and then just abbreviate with a C. And draw your line. And your next will just be milk. Just be milk with an M. Okay? And then step one just says create ratio table with information. Well, we know we have 1 cup chocolate for every 5 cups milk. Okay. Now, we also need to find 2 and up to 20. All right, now how do you get from 1 to 5? Well, step 2 says multiply or divide to find relationship. So 1 times 5 will give you 5. And just continue that relationship all the way down. 2 times 5 is 10. And 20 times 5 is 100. 100. So, to write your equation, step 3 says write equation using variables. So your variable C for chocolate, C, times 5, because right here we had times 5. Right there, there's times 5C times 5 equals M for milk. That's it. C times 5 equals M. That's it. Let's try another one. So example 2 says, for every foot, fence cost $8. It says find 3 foot of fence, and of course write your equation to represent the relationship. So for every foot, fence costs $8. Find 3 foot of fence and write equation. So let's go and start with the table. So go ahead and start with your table. So we'll start with your foot of fencing. So just go and write fence or fencing with an F and draw your line. And then we'll just say cost. C. Well, we know that every foot, fill in your information. Step 1 says to create ratio table with information. For every foot, it costs $8. So plug in your 8. And then how do we get from 1 to 8? Well, we just multiply times 8. 1 times 8 will give you 8. And then also plug in, we'll find 2 and 3 foot of fencing. So step 2 says continue with that multiply to find your relationship. 2 times 8 is 16, and 3 times 8 is $24. So step 2 is complete. We just multiplied by 8 to find our relationship. And then step 3 says, well, write equation using variables. So use your variable F for fence. Just put down F. And then what do we multiply by here? Well, that's times 8. F times 8 equals, well, our last variable is C equals C. That's it. F times 8 equals C. Let's go and try another one. This last one right here on example 3, this one says 12 trucks for every 4 cars. Then it says find cars for 36 trucks, and of course write your equation to represent the relationship. Okay? So we have 12 trucks for every 4 cars. Find cars for 36 trucks and write equation to represent relationship. So step 1 is to create your table. So we'll just say trucks. For T, we'll just say T for trucks. And let's say cars, and just with the C. We'll just say C. All right, and then plug in with your information. So we created our ratio table, and we know that 12 trucks for every 4 cars. Okay? Well, how did we get from 12 to 4? Well, since we're going down, we must divide. So 12 divided by what will give you 4? Well, that's 3. That's it. And then just continue with 24 and 36. And 24 divided by 3 will give you 2. Or rather, 24 divided by 3 will give you what? Well, 24 divided by 3 will give you 8. And lastly, 36 divided by 3, that will give you 12. So, step 3 says, write equation using variables. Well, what are your variables? Well, right here is T, And then what did we divide by? Well, we divided by 3. Divide by 3. All right, so t divided by 3 will give you c. Will give you c. That's it. T divided by 3 will give you c. T divided by 3 will give you c. That's it. We're going to try example 4. On example 4 says 1 minute. 1 minute. Example 4 says 1 minute for every 200 foot. 1 minute. 1 minute for every 200 foot. And then it also says to find, 4 minutes. And of course, write your equation to represent the relationship. Okay? So 1 minute for every 200 foot, find 4 foot, and write equation. So step 1 says to create that ratio table. So we'll just write minutes and m. And then try to draw that line as straight as you can. And then go and write F for feet. F for feet. And then plug in your information. Well, we do know we have 1 minute for every 200 foot. And how do we get, step 2 says, well, to multiply or divide to find your relationship. So how do you get from 1 to 200? Well, that is times 200. And 1 times 200 is 200. And then just continue that down with your relationship. 2 times 200 is 400. 3 times 200 is 600. And 4 times 200 is 800. So we have our relationship. We know that it is times 200. Times 200. All right. And then step 3 says to, well, write equation using variables. So we know that our variable m will start m times 200 will give you that last variable, which is f, equals f. That's it. M times 200 equals f. That's it. So go ahead and try numbers 5 and 6 on your own. Example 5 says, each post, you're looking at fence again, needs 18 nails. 18 nails. Create table for 4 posts. And of course, write your equation. And then example 6, skip a few lines so you have enough room for your tables. And then example 6 just says, on here, example 6 says 15 bees for every 3 flies. And it says make table for 15, 30, 45, and 60 bees. And of course, write your equation. To represent the relationship. So go ahead and try examples 5 and 6 on your own.